You know the feeling when you're drowning in assignments and your ADHD brain is screaming for an escape, but you can't leave because good students don't take breaks. That's the trap that almost broke me. In this video, I'm sharing 10 reasons why studying abroad literally saved my pre-med journey and how it might save yours too. Hi, my name is Alanud. Great to be here with you today. If you're a pre-med student, you know the grind. And if you have ADHD, like me, you know how hard that grind can be. It's like climbing a mountain with a backpack full of rocks while everyone else is just walking up with flying boots. We're told that to be a doctor, you need to be perfect. You need to have perfect focus, rigid schedules, and this relentless, toxic productivity. But what I found that forcing my brain into that neurotypical box, it doesn't work. It just leads to burnout. So I did something that seemed a little risky. I left our library, I left the country, and I studied abroad. And honestly, it did more for my medical journey and my ADHD brain than any textbook ever did. Today, I want to share 10 reasons why you should study abroad and how it completely changed my perspective on medicine and myself. So let's talk about the pre-med track. The pre-med track was designed for a certain individual, an individual with a neurotypical brain. We're constantly told to just try harder or just manage your time better. But for us, time isn't linear. We just have 2 time zones, now and not now. When I decided to study abroad, a lot of people asked me, wouldn't that just make it worse? Is that wise? Like, won't it distract you from studying, from your MCAT prep? Won't you lose momentum? It makes sense why they would ask that, but here's the thing. My brain didn't need more rigidity. It needed novelty. It needed a reset. Studying abroad wasn't just a vacation. It was a crash course in executive function, empathy, and adaptability, skills that are very crucial for becoming a doctor. So with all of that in mind, I've got 10 reasons why you should study abroad and why this experience is a game changer for ADHDers like me. Reason 1 I call is the dopamine reset. We know our brains are chemically wired to seek dopamine. In a standard semester, we try to get dopamine from scrolling on TikTok or panic studying at 2 a.m. in the morning when you have an exam at 8. But that's not healthy. But when you're abroad, everything is new. The grocery store is new. The bus system is new. The language is new. Your brain is constantly flooded with stimulation and with novelty. And for an ADHD brain, that is high quality fuel. I found that because my brain was getting enough stimulation from everything going on, I didn't really need to fight myself to study as much or sit down and actually focus because my interest-based nervous system was finally satisfied. I wasn't fighting for dopamine because I was living in it. Reason number 2 is that it's just the ultimate executive function bootcamp. Now, usually when people talk about executive function tips, they say something like buy a new planner. Like, I have 10. I swear to God, I can go into my room and find 10 planners. So it doesn't really work. Or they're like, make a to-do list. I have so many notes, sticky notes with like to-do list and half-written lists that I never finished. So it never worked. But when you're alone in a foreign country, you have to just figure it out. Nobody's here. You're alone. You have to just figure it out. Not because your teacher told you or because your parents told you, because if you don't, you miss the last train to Paris. Like, you literally miss major things in life if you don't do it. This turns logistics into a game, and a lot of us know how much we love a good challenge. Navigating a foreign city that we've never been to just gamifies organization. You get the immediate feedback. You either catch the train or don't. For example, if we're sticking to the train example, that immediate consequence connects the action to the result in a way that studying a test 3 months away would give you the result of your grade. It taught me I can be organized when the stakes are actually real and immediate, which made me trust myself to actually do the work that I have to do. Number 3, escaping the toxic productivity bubble. In the pre-med world, there is this persuasive idea that if you aren't suffering, you're actually not doing anything and you shouldn't be a doctor. You should just quit. You should go work at McDonald's. So what are you doing here? What are you doing? Literally, somebody told me that before. So yeah, I'm a little bit salty, so yeah. We compare our study hours like they're our badge of honors. Oh, I studied 20 hours yesterday. I haven't actually fell asleep. You're lying, but sure. Yeah, why are we glamorizing being exhausted? That doesn't make sense. Because that's just really bad advice. That's really not really healthy for you. Going abroad, on the other hand, especially to places where it has very different cultural practices, showed me that rest isn't a reward for working. It's a prerequisite prerequisite for working. Seeing doctors, students in other countries who prioritize life outside of medicine made me realize how much of a bubble I was living in. I can still be a doctor, be human too. I don't have to burn out to prove that I'm gonna be the best doctor out there. It doesn't make me more worthy of a white coat. So it's okay to just rest. Reason number 4, adaptability. We talk a lot about resilience in medicine, but I found that my ADHD brain actually gave me an edge here. When you travel, things goes wrong all the time. Trust me on that, all the time. Trains break down, reservations get lost, planes just decide they don't want to work today. So a lot of things go wrong. Neurotypical brains often panic when plans derail, but us, we thrive in chaos. Yes, we might be stressed, but we can figure it out. We've been improvising our whole life. We'd figure out solutions when we lost our keys or forgot our assignment, and that doesn't change here. Studying abroad gave me the confidence to trust that ability. Like for example, in the ER, things aren't really going, that's why I love the ER and I would love to work as a trauma surgeon, because I know I thrive in that chaos. For example, in the ER, things aren't going to go according to textbooks. The plan will 100% break, trust me, 100%. So learning to navigate a foreign city, I remember like this actually happened once where I was driving and my phone just died on me while I'm driving, and I'm like, okay, I've been here before, like I know the general direction I'm supposed to go, and I just trusted my brain. I just trusted my brain I'm gonna go where I arrive, and it surprised me. I surprised myself. I actually arrived there. Like I actually found the way, and it just made me trust myself more. Like this actually happened to me. It's insane. It's insane. Like it's insane. So like when you're navigating a foreign city without your phone or with something unexpected happening, it just like turns from being scattered into our superpower that is called adaptability. Reason number 5, the empathy of being an outsider. When you are in a foreign country, you are an outsider. And you know you're an outsider. It's obvious. So when I was abroad, I was the one who really couldn't communicate. I was the one who needed help reading the menu or ordering something because I didn't know anything. I felt like I was vulnerable because I was vulnerable. For those with ADHD, we often feel different or misunderstood. Anyway, but physically being in a place where you actually know you're an outsider really deepens your empathy. It really humbled me, and it taught me patience. It taught me how to communicate when you don't speak the same language, how to communicate across barriers, which is probably the single most important skill a physician has to learn. Number 6, this is a huge one. It helped me break my procrastination cycle. At least like a little bit, you know, it's a win. If it's 1% better, that's a win for me. We all know the ADHD tax. We pay extra fees, we miss deadlines, but when you are traveling, the ADHD tax is literally missing our flight home. The stakes are more tangible and they are higher. Because of that, I learned how to use visual cues effectively. I couldn't rely on my internal clock. That doesn't work, by the way. So I started leaving my passport on my shoes. No, I literally do that. I leave my passport on my shoes so I don't forget it. I started packing the week before. Not because before I actually had to, the week before I actually had to, because I just wanted that morning to be stress-free so I don't actually forget something again. Like I forgot my passport. Thank God I remember when I get downstairs, because I would have missed my flights on those multiple occasions, but I ended up not doing that. So because of that, I learned what my brain's limitations are and actually how I could counteract that, or actually just, feel better about it or make it better. You know what I mean? I learned to work with my brain's limitations than just hoping that they would disappear one day. They never would. And we know that. So we need to work with our brain. Number 7, global perspective on medicine. Reason 7 is gaining a global perspective on healthcare. In the United States, we are taught on doing healthcare a certain way. And for example, if you're from the Middle East, you're taught doing medicine in a specific way. But seeing how other systems focus on preventative care or diagnosis without machines and without the 3 million tests we have to do in the United States and the community support they have really was really eye-opening. And for an ADHD brain that loves to connect dots and loves seeing the big picture, this was really fascinating for me. I actually talked about it in my personal statement. And it's also the reason why I'm gonna go DO rather than MD, because it really made me more of a holistic thinker, because neurodivergent brains are often more holistic. We see patterns. Seeing how culture impacts healthcare and health outcomes really fed my curiosity in ways that memorizing just data doesn't really do that, or just facts doesn't really do that. It reminded me of why I actually wanted to do all of this. I don't want to just treat symptoms. I want to understand people and treat those people. Number 8, learning to trust myself again. As a lot of us with ADHD, we always had this narrative in our head where we can't be trusted with anything. And you say that to yourself, you're like, I can't be trusted with anything. I can't be trusted with remembering anything. I can't be trusted on starting a task. But when you successfully complete a semester abroad, when you solve problems on your own, when you make new friends in a new language, when you start to rewrite that narrative, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You realize that your brain might just work differently, not just not work. And actually, sometimes it works very well. That confidence is something that I actually brought back with me here to the US. I brought it back to my exams. I brought it back to the labs that I'm doing. I stopped panicking as much as I did before because I knew I figured out harder things than just a physics problem. So it just made me more confident, which really helped me in the long run. Number 9, we're almost there. Learning the value of doing things. This sounds counterintuitive for a pre-med, right? But my brain is always running at 100 miles per hour. Abroad, you learn about just sitting and just drinking coffee for an hour or 2. At first, it was painful. Trust me, it was painful. My brain was screaming, you should be doing something. No. You know that task that is in the next semester where you didn't actually start that semester yet, but you have to think about it right now. Yeah, no, that task, very important right now. But eventually I realized that this unproductive time was not actually unproductive. It was the time where my brain was actually recovering and processing the information I was giving it for the past 3 years. Following up on that, I actually allowed myself to rest without actually feeling the guilt, which actually improved my focus when I came back in the US to study. It's that paradox. Slowing down actually helps you more than rushing. Number 10, meeting your people. When you study abroad, you meet people who are looking for something different, especially in places that are accepting a lot of people from abroad. You meet people who are curious, adventurous, and often they have some autism in them, some neurodivergency in them. I found a community where I didn't have to mask as much. I didn't have to pretend that I was perfect, linear, or a type A student, because I'm not. I'm not even a type B. I'm like a type F at this point. Because that just made me that I could just be me, my excited, energetic, clumsy, talks too much, passionate self. Finding a community that accepts me as who I am is very essential for getting through med school in the future and getting through my undergrad right now. You need a support system that actually knows you and knows the real you, not just the resume you. So if you've been thinking there, I can't study abroad, I have too much to do, my ADHD will make it a disaster, I want to challenge that thought. Maybe the environment you are at right now is the problem. And I'm talking to the people that are back home in the Middle East. Maybe the environment is the problem, not your brain. Maybe stepping out of that pressure cooker is exactly what you need to remember why you wanted to study in the first place. Hopefully, you can use these strategies, put them into practice, and make a change. Make a difference in the world. It's not always going to be perfect. You will fail sometimes. I fail all the time. It's a struggle, but we're always gonna struggle. But when you persevere and you don't blame yourself, it will make all the difference in the world. It can really make a huge impact. Thank you for listening to my talk today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please watch my last video talking about how I fixed my attention span. I hope you enjoy it. Again, thank you for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe. And in the comments below, tell me which reason seemed more appealing to you in this video. And tell me if you're reconsidering about studying abroad. Anyways, I hope you found something very helpful, and see you next time. Bye-bye.